meeting can start now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today for this special meeting. And before we start to our agenda, Secretary Schuman, do we have a quorum today?
Chair Chen Zhang, we do, yes.
Thank you. And is the live feed working properly for us?
It is. We've confirmed that we do have a live feed to YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to call on the board for a vote to accept today's agenda, please.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. I'd like to thank my board colleagues for arranging your schedule to attend this special board meeting. We are gathered to consider a resolution that will enable the university to receive $30 million in state funding for the renovation of Dunbar Hall. In addition to our regular scheduled meetings, the board occasionally gathers in public special meetings like this one to consider and act on time-sensitive items. We're meeting today to consider a routine transaction as required by the State Building Authority Act, and which is necessary for us to receive the state funds for the renovation. The revitalization of Dunbar Hall is another step toward our vision to provide a world-class holistic experience for our students. With that, I will ask President Montgomery to briefly describe why this action is so important.
Thank you, Chair Chen Zhang. I also want to thank the board for making time to act on this timely resolution, which will allow Western to receive $30 million in state support for our students. Dunbar Hall is a workhorse in the delivery of our academic mission. It's the home to over a dozen academic programs, many housed in the College of Arts and Sciences, and it's one of the busiest classroom buildings on the campus. It's one of our most heavily used academic buildings for WMU Essential Studies courses, our core curriculum, which provides students 21st century change-ready knowledge and competencies. The building hasn't had a major renovation since it was built in 1971. As the building reaches its 50th year, that makes me feel very old, it's time to create a state-of-the-art educational facility that creates and meets the needs of today's students. With many features, the renovation will include active learning classrooms, a dance studio which will overlook Miller Plaza, and a cutting-edge podcast and broadcasting suite. The renovation will also advance our commitment to sustainability with 2 living vegetative roofs and an upgraded energy-efficient utility infrastructure. We have requested state funds to renovate Dunbar Hall for over 20 years. As the original building reaches the end of its planned life and we create a campus environment that our students seek, we bring this resolution forward with great enthusiasm for a positive impact that it'll have on our students. I want to thank you and turn the floor back over to you.
Thank you, President Montgomery. And do we have any public comments regarding the action item, Secretary Schuman?
Chair Chen Zhang, there was no interest in public comment regarding this action item. Thank you.
Great. Then we are going to move on to the action items. Vice President Bentley, please.
Thank you. And I want to thank the board for their flexibility. The state of Michigan changed their time schedule. And without the special meeting, we would have been delayed quite several months before we could start receiving the state funding for this project. The state budget for the project is $42,370,000, and as stated, the state's providing $30 million of it. The balance is being paid from university funds and gifts. The State Building Authority Act is actually Public Act 183 and was amended in 1964. It still governs the structure that the state and the public universities use today. It's a very prescribed process, as you know. The reason why the state has to have ownership of the building is because they actually issue public debt on our behalf. It could be commercial paper, bonds, any type of financing out there. So the action you're taking today does transfer ownership to the state. In addition, the documents have WMU entering into a lease with the state. The lease cannot extend beyond 40 years. It can be less than 40 years if the state determines to pay off the bonds early, which has occurred occasionally. At the time the bonds are paid off by the state, ownership reverts back to the university. So the documents that we received are consistent and routine for this type of a structure between a public university and the state. Kara Craig, our general counsel, Steve Frank, who's with Miller Canfield, and David Dakin have reviewed the documents and also worked with the state's attorneys, Dykeman and Gossman, to make sure they're appropriate for the transaction. So with that, it's being recommended that the board approve the resolution as provided by the State Building Authority and authorizes the president, treasurer, or assistant treasurer, the authorized officers, to finalize and to execute any deeds, easements, agreements, or documents, and to take such other actions necessary or convenient to effectuate and complete the transactions contemplated herein, with such modifications as they or any one of them may approve as reasonable or necessary. So with that, happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Vice President McLean. Any questions from our trustees? Hearing none, can I entertain a motion?
I move.
Support. Secretary Schumer, is that a roll call, please?
Chair Chen Zhang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Edgerton,
Yes.
Trustee Johnston,
Yes.
Trustee Penn,
Yes.
Trustee Reinvelt,
yes,
Trustee Turfy,
Yes.
Chair Chen Zhang, motion passes.
Thank you. And thank you, Vice President Bentley, and congratulations to our university for a great addition of the building. So with that, any other questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Have a great rest of the afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.